Next child is 18 months and gets an earache. I do not go to the doctor and I don't tell anyone. I have to do something though. So I went to the lady that lives next door. So I was, what, 26 or 27 by now. She's 85. I said, what did your mother do when you were a little girl and you had an earache? She said, Mum would steam up an onion on the stove. So I went home, I steamed the onion up on the stove, and then I cut it in half under her directions, so that what you're looking at is the rings. So you keep the skin on and it keeps everything in place. And I wrapped the onion up in a cloth, a few layers, and the few layers of cloth will help to keep it warm, but also just to shield the direct heat from being too hot. I tested it on my arm and I put it on his ear. I covered it with a piece of plastic, and what that does is that just insulates it. And then he was just a little boy, I was breastfeeding him, and I could put the onion between his ear and my arm, and I could feel the heat. And when he slept, I laid him down on the bed, but I laid him down on a towel that had been folded up about 8 times because I knew that that would keep it warm. You can keep it on for as long as you can keep it warm. What did they do before plastic? They used a wool square. So you can certainly use a wool square. I make a lot of my own clothes, and in the winter I make a lot of woolly skirts. So I have squares, and you can also put a woolen square just this side of the plastic so that the plastic doesn't even touch you, but it is stopping the moisture going through and insulating it and keeping it warm. James slept for 2 hours. When he woke up, he was happy. I watched him all day and the next day and the next day. That was it. Just compare my experience. 2 hours sleep with onion on his ear, and then my last experience with my first daughter, 6 weeks and 4 courses of antibiotics. No wonder I went into natural remedies. I was excited at the prospect. So I went down to the newsagent and I bought a book that had A, B, C, D, E, F, G in it. And I started my natural remedy book. And under E, I put onion compress. I have since learned that you can steam it and squeeze it. And if you squeeze it, you'll get a few drops of juice out. This is when it's hot, and it'll be boiling hot. But when the hot juice hits the spoon, it'll go a nice temperature, and you can put that in the ear. You can even use, you know, one of these little soak it up and squirt it straight in the ear.